What's going on, Reds? Welcome back to Anfield Wire, your home for the latest Liverpool news, transfer updates, and tactical breakdowns. Today we've got huge updates on Wirtz, Slot's transfer strategy, and more, so you won't want to miss this one. If you love daily Liverpool content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Anfield Wire. YNWA Liverpool might just have seen solution to Florian Wirtz' injury blow. Liverpool will be without Florian Wirtz as it takes on Wolves in the Premier League, and probably the FA Cup too, but Arne Slot may have one solution ready at the perfect time. For all that Liverpool scored 5 goals against West Ham at the weekend, there is no doubt that Florian Wirtz was missed. And while the clear improvement from set pieces is a big step in the right direction, more is required in general play too. Arne Slot's men created just 1.84 expected goals at Anfield on Saturday, just 1.22 from open play. And so while the scoreline looked impressive, the Liverpool boss was right when he said his side has played much better this season. West Ham, by that same metric, had the better of the chances. When Liverpool takes on Wolves, it will do so without Wirtz once again, and that means others will have to step up in his absence. Cody Gakpo and Mohamed Salah haven't looked like doing so lately, but one man who could make the difference did return. Jeremy Frimpong looked sharp when he came off the bench last time out, returning from a month on the sidelines and forcing Axel Disasai's own goal, and Slot has previously outlined how his skill set can help the Reds against deep-lying defenses. If he's fit, he can definitely help us, because last week he had the assist against Tottenham and today he had a great assist against Wolves, Slot explained in December, following the reverse fixture. Pace, that's what he has. And that's so important and crucial in modern football. To create something against a low block, teams that defend with so many players, usually teams break this down with set pieces, that's not our biggest strength. So to have him available with his pace, because the first goal we scored was pure individual ability, quick, bam, and the cutback cross. Frimpong's fitness will need to be managed. He won't be starting both games against Wolves this week, but in the Premier League clash on Tuesday, with Wirtz missing, he might be required creatively. Liverpool has since turned things around on the set-piece front, but just as it couldn't avoid scoring more via that avenue to increase its performance levels, it can't only rely on dead balls to break the deadlock. Having Jeremy back is nice, but we have 3 games in 7 days, and you have to take that into account, especially when players come back from injuries, Slot said on Monday. We know the importance of every game. It is a challenge for the player, the manager, and the performance staff. I prefer to have the problem of managing his minutes, rather than seeing him with the medical staff. If Frimpong is able to start at Molineux on Tuesday, Liverpool will have a better chance of creating chances with Wirtz missing. As he showed in a brief cameo against West Ham, he has the X-factor that the likes of Gakpo and Salah are currently lacking. Liverpool's $600 million transfer spree inspired by PSG after Arne Slot observation. The Liverpool head coach has repeatedly compared his side to Paris Saint-Germain since last season's Champions League exit, and one aspect of Luis Enrique's team particularly impressed him. Arne Slot has revealed that adding pace to his lineup was a significant motivating factor behind last summer's transfer activity. Liverpool recruited heavily before the 2025-26 season, with 8 first-team arrivals totaling a cost of over £450 million, just north of $600 million. That lavish outlay was partly to replace several outgoing stars, but also to address certain deficiencies in the team. A lack of speed was certainly among them, a feature that was often prevalent in Liverpool's performances last season, despite being the runaway Premier League champions. Slot also believes it held the side back in Europe, particularly up against the might of Paris Saint-Germain. PSG eliminated Liverpool in the last 16 of the Champions League just under a year ago, with arguably the continent's 2 best unfortunately paired together in the first knockout round. The French champions do not lack for pace, with the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Achraf Hakimi, and Khvicha Kvaratskhelia in their ranks. Speaking ahead of the midweek trip to Wolverhampton Wanderers, Slot said that Champions League disappointment partly motivated Liverpool's recruitment plans. Jeremy has shown every time he comes in that when you face low blocks, how important pace is, Slot said, when asked about the returning Jeremy Frimpong, Liverpool's quickest player, who has recently recovered from a groin injury. I can tell you, the moment you don't face low blocks and the moment you face teams who line up further away from goal, then pace becomes probably even more important. Pace in modern football, apart from being really strong at set pieces, is crucial. Not that I needed it because I knew it, but Paris Saint-Germain were a great example, last season, of pace when it comes to the forwards, to win the Champions League from open play and be creative. Slot added, I thought, that was something we could add to this team and what we've tried to do. But unfortunately, we've only been able to use one player we signed, who has a lot of pace in our front three, and that is Hugo Ekitike. Alex Isak has been mainly injured, and Jeremy hasn't played a lot of minutes in the Premier League. That's why I always keep on saying that you see progress with us, but what if all these players are fit? This club is in a very good place because we signed so many good players in the summer. As referenced by Slot, Liverpool has yet to see the best of Frimpong and Isak due to injury. The pair have only managed a combined 12 league starts. Arne Slot confirms Liverpool's transfer strategy after watching direct styles. Several Premier League teams have looked to employ a more direct style of play. 27.5% of goals in the competition this season have come from non-penalty set pieces. Arne Slot and Liverpool are refusing to change their summer transfer strategy after watching long ball after long ball this season. The Reds started this campaign as the defending Premier League champions, but they have struggled to keep up with the likes of Arsenal and Manchester City in the title race. Slot's players are fifth in the table, 16 points behind Mikel Arteta's Gunners in first. One reason why Liverpool has struggled this season is that some teams have adopted a more direct style of play. The Reds themselves have looked to make the most of set pieces in recent weeks. No team has scored from more non-penalty deadball situations than Liverpool in the Premier League since the start of the calendar year. That shift to a more direct style has seen Liverpool win 4 of its last 5 Premier League games. Yet Liverpool struggled to cope with long ball after long ball, as Slot put it, earlier in the campaign. Speaking ahead of his team's game against Wolves at Molineux on Tuesday, Slot revealed that he's not enjoying watching Premier League soccer as much this season because it's more direct. For example, all 3 goals scored during Arsenal's crucial 2-1 victory against Chelsea on Sunday came from corners. The Reds boss was then asked whether Liverpool would look to change its summer transfer strategy in light of the Premier League's more direct style this season. "We have our own model over here, as I said many times, and our model is that we sign young players," replied Slot. "It's normal for younger players that they have to adapt usually more towards the Premier League than if you sign players that have already played in the Premier League, that are 27 and are already in the end of their physical growth. But it's exactly the reason why we have our model, because we believe that players can get better. This club has shown that we can achieve things, as we did 5 years ago and last season, with our model." Liverpool's 2026 summer spending spree has already started, with Jeremy Jacquet, a 20-year-old defender, arriving from Rennes. Slot added, "A rebuild takes time, a transition takes time, and that's what we did last summer. But we didn't expect the league to become like it did this season. You couldn't know this because last season it wasn't as extreme as it is this season. That is usually what happens. If a team has a success in a certain area, then it is being copied. 10 to 15 years ago, a lot of people wanted to play like Barcelona. Let's hope the one that wins the World Cup has a great style of play, wins it by scoring open play goal after open play goal, and doesn't win it for a different reason. The Premier League is powerful in the sense that every ball is being kicked forward, especially in the beginning of the season. That was especially against us. That has settled down a little bit in my opinion. In the first 10 games or something, it was just long ball after long ball after long ball, direct style." Julian Nagelsmann uses Ryan Gravenberch example in message to Germany players. The Liverpool midfielder has thrived since moving to the Premier League, but struggled during his time at Bayern Munich, where he was largely a substitute under Julian Nagelsmann. Julian Nagelsmann has used Liverpool midfielder Ryan Gravenberch as an example of his approach to managing the Germany squad. The 38-year-old took charge of the national team in 2023 and is currently preparing for the World Cup. Assessing his squad and which players will fit into the roster is his primary responsibility in the months ahead of the tournament, while also attempting to judge the internal dynamics of the group. Prior to his current role, Nagelsmann was Bayern Munich's coach, where he managed Gravenberch. The current Liverpool star struggled to make the step up in Bavaria and moved to Anfield after just a single season in the Bundesliga. Reflecting on his time at Bayern, Nagelsmann said Gravenberch was the unfortunate victim of his circumstances at the time. Speaking to Kicker about selecting his Germany squad, Nagelsmann said, "You have to pay extremely close attention to how a player handles being 15th or 16th in our squad, even though he's considered a top 6 player at his club, someone who always plays. Can a player who's a regular starter at his club grow into that kind of role with us, or not? I can certainly imagine that there will be players who don't see themselves as being 15th or 16th in the squad. They might not say so publicly, but they'll say it in private conversations. Ultimately, every player has to make a genuine commitment. But then, in March, they also have to show that they stand by their word and put the team first. I know from experience that not everyone can do that. Let me give you an example from my time at Bayern Munich. Ryan Gravenberch is a top-class player. He already was at Bayern, but the situation was very complicated for him after his transfer from Ajax. Leon Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich were ahead of him in the pecking order, and I had also promoted Aleksandar Pavlovic. Ryan's task was to step up his game in the last 20 minutes, but that's not his style of play. Ryan is a player who needs consistent rhythm throughout the match. And then there are players you can bring on for 20 minutes, either to maintain a result or to desperately score a goal. They can give their all and leave everything on the pitch in those 20 minutes. Gravenberch started just 3 Bundesliga games at Bayern but has become one of Arne Slot's most influential players. Last season, he was selected as Premier League Young Player of the Season and was named in the PFA Team of the Year. Giorgi Mamardashvili considering Liverpool transfer exit as team on red alert. Giorgi Mamardashvili has played just 11 times for Liverpool this season following his transfer from Valencia, triggering speculation about his future on Merseyside. It's claimed that Giorgi Mamardashvili is already considering his future at Liverpool after failing to remain in the starting 11. The 25-year-old goalkeeper only joined Arne Slot's first-team squad last summer. Liverpool agreed to sign Mamardashvili from Valencia in a £29 million, $38.8 million, deal in August 2024, but he remained at the Spanish club for another season before moving. Mamardashvili has since played 11 times for the Reds, with 5 of those appearances coming in the Premier League. He's become Liverpool's second-choice goalkeeper behind Alisson, inheriting the role vacated by Caoimhin Kelleher following the Irishman's £18 million, $24 million, move to Brentford last June. Mamardashvili was viewed as a signing for the future when Liverpool secured his services, given that Alisson is still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. Yet it's believed that the Georgian stopper is frustrated at his lack of minutes at Anfield and is already considering his future. That's according to Team Talk, which claims that Mamardashvili could request a loan move to get more regular action next season. And, as per El Desmarque, Valencia is keeping an eye on the situation for 2 reasons. Firstly, because it is interested in re-signing Mamardashvili on loan. And secondly, because Valencia would be entitled to a sell-on fee if Liverpool decides to sell the goalkeeper. It's believed that Mamardashvili is still a popular figure at Valencia. Bringing the goalkeeper back to Spain would be a huge coup for Valencia, a team in danger of relegation this term. Carlos Corberan's players are 13th in the table, 5 points above the drop zone. Mamardashvili is unlikely to become Liverpool's number 1 anytime soon. Alisson turns 34 in October, but he's still playing at a high level. The Brazilian goalkeeper is out of contract in June, but the Reds have the option to extend that deal until the summer of 2027, something they are expected to do. And despite the reports, there's still a good chance Mamardashvili will remain as Alisson's backup for next season. Liverpool is under no pressure to sell or loan the goalkeeper, who is under contract until the summer of 2031. If Liverpool does agree to send Mamardashvili out on loan for the 2026-27 campaign, it's unclear who would replace him as the number 2 goalkeeper. Freddie Woodman, the 28-year-old from England, is currently Liverpool's third-choice stopper. Mamardashvili started his career at Dinamo Tbilisi before completing loan spells at fellow Georgian teams Rustavi and Lokomotiv Tbilisi. He joined Valencia in June 2021 and soon became the number 1 goalkeeper, playing 134 games during his time in Spain. Mamardashvili has represented Georgia's senior team 35 times, including at Euro 2024.